Heyoo, my name is CHUPACABRAH, and today we're going to be going over the strategy for each of the first 10 races of the NAFCAR season. Each race of the NAFCAR season offers different challenges that must be overcome, and having a strategy to come over these challenges is the key. We will compare each race side by side to paint you the best picture we can of the first quarter of the NAFCAR season. This video will contain footage used in our compilation video of the first 10 races. If you'd like to see each race unedited, go ahead and check out that video, link is in the description. I don't talk after the introduction, so you don't have to listen to this weird voice I have. Alrighty, let's jump right into the video. Each track on the NAFCAR circuit is unique, and with uniqueness comes different strategy. What works for one race won't work for any other race. Each NAFCAR race you need to consider three things: tire wear, damage wear, and time. The one thing that affects all three of these is distance. Two of these can be eliminated by using cosmetic damage only, but in NASCAR and the NAFCAR League, we race with simulation damage on. Before we talk about each track individually, I'd like to talk about tire wear and damage wear as a whole. A lot of tire wear is calculated through tire heat. The way you build tire heat is essentially doing things you're not supposed to do. For example, if you're coming around the turn and you slide, you're going to put heat in your tires. When you put heat in your tires, they're going to degrade faster. More heat also means more slickness, and of course more slickness means more sliding, and more sliding means more damage to your tire. If you keep your tires cool, they will have more grip. More grip means better turning, and better turning means less heat in your tires. Now, this is all different based on the different type of car you have. A hypercar will have different tire wear and effects than a sport utility hero would. On the Crown, sport utility heroes, by the end of the race, you should have about 70% of your tires used. It feels a lot worse than the CHUPACABRAH 500, where you end the race at 99.9% tire wear. So each track and each car feel completely different from one another, even though they all have the same amount of tire wear, or in some cases more tire wear. We calculate tire wear on each track using a 1 to 6 scale. If you use between 0 and 30% of your tires, this is considered tire wear level 1. And tire wear level 1 should almost have no effect on your car. Between 30 and 49% of your tires used, this would be considered level 2 tire wear. And level 2 tire wear isn't really that bad. It's somewhat noticeable on some high-speed turns, but for the most part, you might have to just back it down just a little bit while making a turn. It's usually no big deal. Level 3 tire wear means you use anywhere between 50 and 70% of your tires. Level 3 tire wear is when you begin to see the effects of tire degradation. This means that your car is becoming a little more slipperier, and the more slipperier it is, the more heat you're building, and the more heat you're building, the more damage you're doing. At this point, you're really going to need to slow things down, especially when entering turns. You do not want to slide your tires because they have no grip, because you're going to do further damage. You're also going to begin to notice it's kind of hard to turn at high speeds. Don't worry, it's about to get worse. Between 70 and 83.5 is considered level 4 tire wear. This is where we start to have some serious problems. One, the car is not turning. It does not want to turn, and when it does finally turn, you're sliding, and once again you're sliding, you're putting heat in your tires, and you're making it worse. As you can see, as you go through each of these levels, the problems just keep compounding. Level 5 tire wear is between 83.5 and 99.9% of your tires used. At this point, you almost can't turn the car at all. You need to take it slow around turns, you need to take it slow even getting up to speed. You don't want to spin your tires. It's super easy to spin your tires at this point. And to make everything worse, the gap between 83.5 and 99.9% closes incredibly fast because it's all exponential at this point. And finally, if you are expected to finish the race at above 100%, this is considered level 6 tire wear. And at level 6 tire wear, the car is impossible to drive. Your day is basically over. At level 6, you can't turn, you can't stop, you can't build speed, you basically can't do anything. Each NAFCAR track is completely different from one another. The CHUPACABRAH 500, the tire wear is rated at a level 5, which means you should use anywhere between 83.5 and 99.9% of your tires. So what's the strategy? Well, the strategy is you need to keep your tires fresh. You do not want to destroy your tires because everybody will finish between 83 and 99.9% of your tires used. If you abuse your tires and you end up using 100%, you're going to lose every race against anybody who was below that 99.9% mark. Redbeard 95, that track is rated at a tire wear level 2, which means you should use anywhere between 30 and 49% of your tires. A track like this, tire wear level 2, doesn't really affect you. So you can burn your tires, go as fast as you want, slide as much as you want, do whatever you can to finish the race. Because you're going to finish under that 49% mark, which at that point, tire wear doesn't matter. Go as hard as you can. So some tracks, tire wear matters a lot, and you need to really take care of those tires if you want to see the finish line. Other racers, tire wear doesn't matter. You can spin around and do donuts for 5 seconds and then complete the race and you'll still have no issue. So hopefully I've painted a good enough picture of what tire wear and each one of the tire wear levels mean in a NAFCAR race. Now, let's talk about damage wear. Damage wear is rated on a 1 to 5 scale. It's calculated by the amount of natural damage sustained throughout the course of an event. Natural damage is any damage that's been caused to your vehicle while on the racing surface that wasn't related to accident. For example, if you're on a dirt road and you come off the hill a little too fast and you land and bottom out, deal some damage to your car, that would be considered natural damage taken over the course of the event. Natural damage is something all racers need to keep in mind as all racers will be going through that same exact spot. Now, if you're on a road and you slide and you smash into a building and destroy your car, that's not considered natural damage. That is driver error or driver accident. And none of that is factored into damage wear. Alright, so with that out of the way, we'll go over our damage wear scale really fast. A racetrack with a damage wear rating of 1 means you should accrue no natural damage throughout the course of the event. A lot of paved road events will be a damage wear level 1 because a lot of the roads don't naturally damage you because of just how they're built. So any track that has a damage wear rating of 1, you should sustain no natural damage throughout the course of the event. Most dirt races will come in at a damage rating level of 2, which means you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event. Most dirt races are considered a damage wear level 2, and the reason why it's like this is because a lot of the dirt road terrain have a lot of hills and jumps, and you can easily bottom your car out and deal some slight damage to it. A slight rating usually means you might have accrued some body damage, or you might have dealt maybe 1 or 2% damage to something like your engine or main part. A damage wear rating of 3 means you will accrue general damage throughout the course of the event. And this is some medium, moderate body damage, and you're talking about maybe 5 to 6% damage done to key parts, such as your engine or your driveline. A damage wear rating of 4 means you are going to accrue heavy damage throughout the course of the event. Heavy damage will be a lot of damage to the body and key components such as the brakes or your suspension. It's also going to mean roughly 10% of key parts being destroyed. Key parts being your engine, your driveline, your transmission. You are going to sustain heavy damage. And the more damage you take, the less the car is going to work the way it's supposed to. And finally, a damage wear rating of 5 means you are going to accrue severe damage to your vehicle. And this will basically be any damage done to your engine north of 25%. We're talking about 100% body damage. We're talking about 50% brakes. Severe damage means the car is going to basically be uninoperable. So tire wear, you can manage yourself by taking it easy with the tires. How do you manage damage wear? Well, in some cases you can, and in some cases you can't. The first thing that's really going to help you is building a car specific to the track. If you have a car that's got some great suspension and won't bottom out, it'll make a world of difference between another person who's racing, just say, a hypercar on dirt. Some tracks, it's expected to take heavy damage throughout the course of the event, and it's something you need to keep in mind is it's something everybody else is going to have to deal with. So if you build your car to, say, bottom out less, and you can save 5% on your damage, maybe like 20% where everybody else has 25% engine damage, that's going to go a long way for the rest of the race. Alright, so we've talked about tire wear, we've talked about damage wear, and how to strategize around it. Let's talk about the final main ingredient, and that is time. Time is one of the biggest factors in trying to come up with a strategy to conquer these tracks. The average time of a NAFCAR race is about 12 minutes. There are some races that fall short of this mark, and there are some races that supersede this mark, but 12 is the number we try to shoot for most tracks. Just using this average, 12 is a lot of time. Sometimes it's hard to focus on a racing game for more than 2 or 3 minutes. We're talking about an average race length of 12, and a lot can happen in 12 minutes. You can have a devastating mistake in the first 2 or 3 minutes and have plenty of time to recover. On the flip side, you can have a catastrophic thing happen to you with 3 minutes left, and your day can be completely done. A typical time strategy is this: the shorter the event, the faster you need to go. You can plan for error in a long, drawn-out event. When the event is only going to last 4 minutes, those are the races that you need to focus the most. An error on a 4-minute race is completely different than an error done on a 20-minute race. Another thing to keep in mind, the longer the race, the higher potential you are going to have for tire and damage wear. At the end of a 4-minute race, you will probably have very little tire wear and no damage. At the end of a 20-minute race, you can expect that level 5, level 6 tire wear, and then you can expect that level 2, level 3 damage wear. So I guess to wrap up the time strategy, the shorter the race, the less tire wear, less damage you have to worry about, but the less mistakes you can actually make. The longer the race, the higher the damage wear and tire wear count, and some room to slide off the road here and there. So all three of these strategy categories come from both distance and length of the track. Tracks vary in length from 0.8 mile short tracks all the way to 38.8 mile marathon races. Obviously, the longer the racing distance, the more damage and tire wear you are going to see throughout the course of the event. The important thing to remember is that you need to race the track. The only way you're going to complete a 38.8 mile race is by taking care of the tires. And the only way you take care of your tires is by going maybe a little slower than you would normally go if you have simulation damage off. It's also important to learn how to race backwards. Some of these events where you're going to finish at around 100% tire wear, you need to take it easy until you reach the point where you know you will reach the end without reaching 100%. It takes some time to get used to, but it's the most important part about building a strategy to overcome these NAFCAR racetracks. These are really tough racetracks, the NAFCAR sanctioned ones, where you actually use the simulation damage. It's doable. It's 100% possible. Me and my friend can do all these, and we're pretty okay at this game, I think. I'm better at creating tracks than I am probably racing the cars and building the cars, but, we're alright. And if we can do it with some practice, you can too. So always keep in mind how long the racing distance is, and then manage your tire and damage wear from that. Alrighty, well, we've got the main points out of the way. Now we're going to begin to analyze each track and how you should implement your strategy to overcome and ultimately win all these events. Alrighty, the first race of the NAFCAR season is the CHUPACABRAH 500, and it is a 38.8 mile trail race. It is classified as a marathon race because it is over 20 miles in length. Tire wear is rated a 5 out of 6, which means you should use anywhere between 83.5 and 99.9% of your tires. Damage wear is rated a 2 out of 5, which means you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event. This is a pretty long race as it takes roughly 19 minutes to complete. The biggest challenge of this track will be managing your tires. It is really important to do everything you can to take care of your tire wear. This means taking it easy, trying not to slide your tires, trying not to burn out your tires, and just trying to keep a consistent pace to keep as much grip in those tires as you possibly can. This is also very important as once you put heat in those tires, it's almost impossible to get them out. The only way you can do this is by going over wet roads or trying to find puddles along the racetrack. There are also some dirt roads that'll bring down the tire temperature as well. The CHUPACABRAH 500 is classified as a mixed race, which means it's going to be a combination of paved road, dirt road, and cross country. There are going to be sections of this track that keep your tire temperature low, and these are the sections of the track that you can push the hardest. So what kind of car do you need for an event like this? Well, this is 38.8 miles and it runs the entire outer perimeter of the map. Each different biome in Forza Horizon 5 not only has different weather effects, but they also have different road effects as well. If you notice the desert region, a lot of those roads are flat, and it's really easy to slide your tires on a flat road. If you look at the jungle section, it's full of giant hills and big sweeping turns meant for very fast cars. So if you take a car that's built for the jungle biome and you put it on the desert biome, it's not going to perform as well as it would the other way around. So when you build your car, this is something that you need to keep in mind. You're going to be traveling through these different biomes. And like I said, some are flat and narrow, some have sweeping turns and are meant for high speed. So when you build a car, it's got to be able to handle all of these sections equally. So not only are biomes going to affect your car, your tire wear is also going to affect your car. For example, if you have 99% tire wear, it's a lot harder to turn on these flat roads than it is to turn on big sweeping turns. To the flip side, if you're on these big sweeping turns and you have tire wear, it's easier to keep speed in the car. If you're on the flat road and you have tire wear, it's really hard to turn because you're really not going that fast. It just doesn't want to. So for the CHUPACABRAH 500, the strategy is managing your tire wear. The beginning of this race is going to be done while it's raining, and this means your tire temperature is going to be kept very low. And it also means you're going to be putting minimal wear on your tires. Even if you make a mistake and slide your tires during the wet road portion of the track, even though it'll spike up real fast, it should spike way back down to normal rain operating temperature. So for this portion of the track, it is important that you push as hard as you can and get as far as you can before it stops raining. Once it stops raining, the roads are going to begin to dry out, and then you're going to experience your normal Forza Horizon 5 dry road temperature wear. So once the roads finally dry out, you're going to notice that it is almost impossible to bring your tire temperature back down. Your best course of action here is doing whatever you can to prevent them from getting too high. And this means not sliding your tires and not burning out your tires, just trying to keep as much grip in them as possible. Because once they spike, they're always going to remain high until you figure out a way to cool them off. And they're not going to cool off back down to a temperature that you like unless you happen to go over something wet. There is, however, some dirt roads, as I mentioned, that will bring your tire temperature back down to rain level tire wear. These essentially act as a reset, but once you get past these sections of the course, then you are going to run out of opportunities to reset your tires, essentially. Damage wear is rated a 2 out of 5, which means you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event, and usually this isn't a big deal. About 90% of the time, I finish this race with no damage at all, but sometimes there are hiccups, and sometimes you come off maybe a dirt road jump the wrong way, and you do bottom out and deal some slight damage to maybe your engine or your steering. You can strategize around this by just taking it easy at certain portions of the track. Alright, so let's wrap up the CHUPACABRAH 500. First, build a car that can handle all sections of the map evenly. Some sections you may feel are better to build for than others, like for example my cars, I prefer them to handle the jungle section better, whereas my friend who builds cars, he prefers to build them more for the desert and the flat road. This is all open to however you want to tackle this track. Second, tire wear. Managing your tire wear. The beginning of this course is going to start raining and it's going to have wet roads. So it's important to push as hard as you can during the first, I would say, 45% of the course. If you do make a mistake and you slide your tires and you put a lot of heat in your tires, keep in mind that you're going to have a few points before the end to essentially reset your problem. Once you reach about the 70% mark, you're going to be on your own with tire wear. What you have is what you have, and it's very important, especially in the last, I would say, 10%, to really take it easy, because once you put 250-degree tire wear on your tires, you're not going to be able to drop it much past that 230 mark. In terms of damage, like I said, don't really worry about damage. I would maybe put some extra suspension in your car. Make sure that if you do come off one of these jumps, when you land, you deal as minimal amount of damage as possible. Let's move on to the second race of the NAFCAR season, Redbeard 95. This is a 15-mile road course, and it is the fastest race on the NAFCAR schedule. The CHUPACABRAH 500 took you about 19 minutes to complete. This course will take you less than 4 minutes 30 seconds. This track will be raced on a 100% paved road. Tire wear is rated a 2 out of 6 and damage wear is rated a 1 out of 5, so both will not be a factor for this race. This course will have a small introduction, roughly around 10% of total length, and once you get past the introduction, it is going as fast as you can down the main highway. Not too much strategy to think about here. You need a car that accelerates good, you need a car that's got some good shifting points, you need a car that can have some hard braking because you are going to go back down to about 20 miles per hour and then build that speed up again going back up the highway. So when you build your car, make sure it's fast, it can accelerate fast, and it has some nice hard braking. The third race of the NAFCAR season is called the Crop Circle, and this is a 100% dirt road race. So we've gone from the CHUPACABRAH 500 that's mixed to Redbeard 95, which is a paved road race, and now we have the Crop Circle, which is a dirt road race. Tire and damage wear matter a lot on the first race. It didn't really matter at all the second race, and for this race, it's going to matter only a little bit. Tire and damage wear are both rated 2 out of their respective scales. So you should use anywhere between 30 and 49% of your tires, and you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event. The Crop Circle, you're going to be turning left the entire time. For this course, we used S1 Unlimited buggies, whereas the first two were set to open class, so you can use whatever you want. Unlimited buggies on this course will allow you to essentially drift your way around the entire circle. The only thing that you gotta watch out for are some sudden elevation changes and drops. And if you slide while you're trying to jump over like one of these elevation jumps, you're probably gonna land the wrong way. And if you land the wrong way, you're probably going to hit either the inside wall or some of the objects that are placed on the outside of the track. This is a circuit race, which means you're going to have to complete 16 laps of essentially drifting right on the line of surviving and crashing. This course has 2 lines. You can either take it easy and drive the line closest to the inside wall, or you can go a little bit faster and choose to drive the outside line, which is closer to the objects that are placed on the outside of the track. Obviously, keep in mind, this course is almost a perfect circle, so if you're choosing the inside lane, yes, you're going slower, but you're also taking the quickest route around the circle. If you're using the outside lane, it's a little longer, but you can go a little faster. If you build your S1 Unlimited buggy to take advantage of some sections of the track using the inside lane, some sections of the track using the outside lane, that's going to give you the best chance to put down an incredibly fast lap time. This course, you average about less than 30 seconds a lap, which means you're going to finish this race in under 8 minutes. So we went from the CHUPACABRAH 500, which is 19 minutes, down to a 4.5 minute race with Red Bear 95, and now we're looking at about 8 minutes to complete this course. So as I said, tire wear and damage rated a 2, it wasn't really a big deal. Where it does become sort of a deal is towards the end of the race when you have 2 or 3 laps left. Because of how many times you can bottom out, for this course you can deal some decent damage to your steering. And if you deal damage to your steering, it's going to be kind of hard to drift your car as it's going to be, well, damaged steering. Tire wear also affects your ability to steer, and with this combination it can be pretty dangerous because if you're sliding and you hit one of these bumps, it's easier for you to get a little squirrely and hit something you don't want to hit. So to wrap this course up, build an S1 Unlimited buggy that really favors turning left. Make sure that you are able to drive this buggy right on the edge of basically passing and failing. Tire wear and damage only matter a little bit. The whole point of this course is to basically just survive your 16 laps. Now let's move on to the 4th race of the NAFCAR season, the Twin Bridges. This is a 100% paved road course. So the first race, Chupa 500, that one was a mix. We went to a paved in Red Bear 95, we went to a dirt with crop circle, and now we're going back to paved road racing with the Twin Bridges. The Twin Bridges is a 2.8 mile intermediate racetrack, and it's also circuit in which we will complete 6 laps around. The car type for this race will be S1 Retro Muscle Cars. For this course, tire wear is rated a 3 out of 6, which means you should use anywhere between 50 and 70% of your tires by the end of the race. Damage wear is rated a 1 out of 5, which means you should accrue no natural damage throughout the course of the event. This course is all about making S-turns in short straightaways, so it's important to have a car that can turn incredibly well and a car that's fast enough to keep up on the few short straightaways there is. Damage wear being rated 3 out of 6, and in this course you can kind of feel it, especially towards the end. But this course also doesn't feel like it's rated 3. I would say this course feels like it's rated a mid tire wear level 2. Just because you're not going all that fast. For the most part, you're maintaining relatively the same amount of speed throughout the course of the race. It makes a huge difference when it comes to tire wear. Also, the S-turns, they're not really all that sharp. A lot of these S-turns can be taken if you angle your car right, almost in a straight line. That's what really differs this track from another one we'll talk about later on in the video. Something that you need to be wary of, the reason why it's called the Twin Bridges, is because it goes over 2 bridges. So it's very easy to fall off, and if you fall off with simulation damage on, you're going to suffer severe damage. Alright, so what is the strategy for the Twin Bridges? Well, damage is not a factor, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Tire wear, kind of a factor, something you need to keep in the back of your mind. You don't want to waste precious tire wear trying to slide around an S-turn. You want to take these turns slowly and methodically, keeping as much heat out of those tires as possible. As I said, tire wear, you expect to use anywhere between 50 and 70%. Because of the low speeds of this track, it does feel like a mid to high level 2 tire wear, but all in all, you still are putting a lot of tire wear on your tires. And if you do put, over that level 3, say you put 75% of your tire wear, that's rated level 4, you're not going to have a good time with that car. Concerning tire wear, something else you need to keep in the back of your mind is this track is full of short straightaways. And short straightaways means some acceleration, and you're coming off some very slow turns into these short straightaways, which means you're going to have to excel as fast as you can. And when you do that, you can spin your tires and cause more damage. We don't want that. So the strategy for this race is kind of simple. Be aware of your tires. You don't have to manage your tires much like you have to do in the CHUPACABRAH 500. You just need to be aware of it. Because of the relatively low speeds, tire wear for this track doesn't feel like tire wear on another track. You want to take the S-turns as straight as possible because when you turn, you have a chance to slide, and when you slide, you build heat in your tires, degrading them faster. Build a car with some acceleration to help you get past these short straightaways, and you will be good. This track really isn't all that difficult, and it should take you about 10 minutes to complete, about 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Alrighty, let's move on to California 1. Now this track is going to be difficult. We have the CHUPACABRAH 500, which was a tire and damage wear management race. And then we've had 3 courses where you really don't have to worry about that at all. Now we are going to jump back into the difficulty. California 1 is a 12.8 mile road course, and it is a circuit in which we will complete 2 laps around. This course will take you about 14 minutes to complete, which is well above our average. But remember, the longer the race, the more of a chance you have to make mistakes and recover from them. Tire wear is rated a 5 out of 6, which means you are expected to use anywhere between 83.5 and 99.9% of your tires. And I'm telling you right now, this course comes in closer to the 99.9% tire wear than it does the 83. So this is a extremely high level 5 tire wear race, almost a level 6. The only reason why it's not a level 6 is because it is possible to finish this course below 99.9%. Damage wear is rated a 1 out of 5, so you should accrue no natural damage. We're not even going to worry about that for this track. The biggest advice that I can give for this track is take care of your temperatures on your tires. There is no need to slide. There's no need to go fast. You really want to take your time keeping that initial tire temperature as low as possible. From the beginning to end, this course will be all about managing your tires. You start managing before you even start the race. Once the race starts, you need to ease into the acceleration. If you pull that trigger and you spin your tires, you're going to put heat in your tires that you're never going to ever get out on this course. Once the race starts, you need to take it incredibly slow. You're going to be going slower than all of the bots on the track, and you need to do this purposefully, because once you put heat in those tires, you're never going to get them out. So when you turn, you want to make sure you turn with the car. You don't want to fight the car, because if you fight the car, then you're going to slide, which is going to put heat in your tires, and once you do that, it's over. So you need to literally take, I would say, the first half of the first lap very, very carefully. You don't want to slide, you don't want to accelerate and spin your tires, you just want to go wherever the car will naturally go. Alright, so you're probably asking, well, Chupa, if I have to go slow throughout the duration of the race, then what's the point of racing the race? Well, to make it easy, this course is only 2 laps, which means by the time you finish that first lap, you should have below 50% of your tires used. Anything less than 50% is money in the bank. This is tire wear that you can afford to use later on lap 2 to build that speed back up. Now, you're on lap 2, you're taking it easy, you're managing your tire wear, you get a quarter of the way through lap 2 and you realize that, hey, from here on out, I can drive as hard as I want and make it to the end before I reach 100%. And then, from here on out, you drive like you normally would. Yes, your tires are going to be worn out. They are going to feel incredibly worn out. You're not going to be able to turn as well. You're not going to be able to accelerate as well. You're going to slide around everywhere. And you have to keep in mind, everybody else is also fighting the same situation, unless you're racing against bots, in which, the bots are unaffected by this. This is called working backwards. Usually you see this in a lot of real-world races where fuel mileage is a thing. They have to calculate their exact fuel mileage. They get to a point where they know, hey, from here on out, I can make it to the end without pitting, and then that's it. They're done. It's called working backwards. California 1, everybody's limited to S-Class GT cars. So everybody will at least be on a similar strategy for their car type. This course is full of turns, it's full of some high-speed hills. It's a great mix of all the different types of road tracks in Forza Horizon. Something else to keep in mind is, especially on that final lap, when you do have that level 5 tire wear, there's a lot of cliffs, and if you push your car too hard, you're going to fall off a cliff right at the very end. When you have almost 100% tire degradation, it makes the car almost impossible to drive. But remember, your whole point is just to make it to the end. So all in all, the strategy for this race is relatively easy, but it's also relatively complicated. It's easy in the fact that you know everybody is going to be fighting the same issues. Where it gets difficult is based on how your car and your tire wear look. The way I race this track will differ completely on how you race the track. And if we're racing together, it's essentially who feels like they can make it to the end first, and at what point of the race do they start going from taking care of your tires to actually racing your tires. And whoever pushes the go button first will dictate this for everybody else. So for California 1, the best strategy is to work backwards, take it easy until you know you can make it to the finish with under 100% tire wear, and bring a well-balanced car that can handle some fast turns, some slow turns, some very fast and very slow up and down hill elevation changes. Just bring a well-balanced GT S1. Alright, so let's now look at the 6th race of the NAFCAR season, Splash Trail. Splash Trail will use S1 modern rally cars, and this will take place on a dirt road. Tire wear is rated a 2 out of 5, which means you should expect to use anywhere between 30 and 49% of your tires. For this course is actually a low tire wear level 2 and a high tire wear level 1. Sometimes you can finish this course under that 30% mark, which will be considered level 1, but most of the time you finish around 30-35% tire wear, depending on how well you take care of those tires. And for this course, you can basically burn the tires out. The whole course is built around going through splash puddles, so every time you put heat in the tires, they're going to be constantly cooled off back down to below operating temperature, which is going to save you an ungodly amount of wear. So tire wear, no big deal for this track. Let's talk about damage wear. Damage wear on this course comes in at a level 4, which means you are expected to accrue heavy damage throughout the course of the event. Splash Trail is all about survival. You want to survive the first 80% of the course by not doing any damage to your car whatsoever. Then, around the 80% mark, there's going to be a giant jump, and when you land, it's going to heavily destroy your vehicle. Everybody will have to make this jump, so everybody will have roughly the same amount of damage put onto their car. The big difference is how well you built your car and how much damage you've sustained until that point where you make the jump. If you messed up a lot and you've dealt a lot of damage to your car before that 80% mark, it's only going to compound. The person who had a clean race and had no damage before the jump will obviously sustain less damage when they complete the jump. So as I said, this course is all about survival. You just want to survive until the end with the least amount of damage possible. You don't have to worry about tires, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. You just have to worry about racing these dirt roads and taking as minimal damage as possible. Something else that you should keep in mind is acceleration. This course has roughly 25 splash puddles, and every time you go through a splash puddle, it's going to slow your car down a bit. So you're going to want to build your car with some decent acceleration. It doesn't have to be top speed. This track's not all about going fast, it's all about being precise. This track is a relatively long track. It should take you about 12 minutes to complete. So to wrap up Splash Trail, it's not really too bad on the tire wear. You don't really have to worry about tires. What you do need to worry about is damage. How much you've sustained going throughout the first part of the event versus that last 20%. The car with the least amount of damage is going to win every time. Alrighty, so let's jump into the crown. The Crown is the 7th race of the NAFCAR season. We are almost done with the first 10 races. The Crown is a circuit event in which we will do 6 laps around. It is also the first of many hybrids that we will see throughout the rest of the season. A hybrid event is an event that has equal motifs throughout the course of the race. 2/3 of this track will be raced on dirt road, which is going to have a lot of tight turns and hills. 1/3 of this racetrack is going to be done on paved road, and it's mainly a straight shot, so you're going to be able to build a lot of speed. So when you build your car, you've got to keep this in mind. Do you want to build a sport utility hero that is better for the dirt and turning, or do you want to build a sport utility hero that's best for the long paved straightaway and high speed? A car build that handles both of these will be the key to winning. Tire wear for this event comes in at a 3 out of 6, which means you should use anywhere between 50 and 70% of your tires. For this course, it's actually a high 3. You will end closer to the 70% mark than you will the 50% mark. Damage wear is rated a 2 out of 5, which means you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event, and a lot of this is just because it's got dirt, bumpy hills, and it's really easy to bottom out and deal some slight damage to your car. So for the Crown, we use sport utility heroes. And sport utility heroes are kind of different compared to other cars. These cars are very boxy, they're kind of hard to control, they kind of go wherever they want, they don't turn well, and it makes it perfect for this track. This is one of those tracks where strategy doesn't really matter. You kind of want to just go out and race the race as you normally would any other race. You're not going to have to really worry about huge tire wear degradation. You don't really have to worry about damage. Really, the only thing that you really have to worry about is maintaining a good enough speed and being able to make these tight turns at times. It's definitely easier to make these turns in the beginning when you have less tire wear than it is towards the end of the race. So as this race progresses, this track is going to get tougher and tougher in a lot of different aspects. One spot where this tire wear does matter is that transition onto that long paved straight road. If you have a lot of tire wear, you're going to spin your tires and you're going to put a lot of heat in them. And while they have a lot of heat, they're going to want to slide around the paved sections of the track. And it's because these tires, I use dirt road tires because the majority of the course is dirt road. So you need to kind of keep that in mind. As you get towards the later laps, making these transitions from cement to dirt and then back to cement are tougher than the first 2 laps. But really, you don't have to adjust as much as you would other tracks. As long as you keep a constant pace throughout all these sections, you'll be okay. As I said before, there's a lot of dirt road that will bring your tire temperature down very low. For this course, none of those dirt roads exist. So once you put heat in those tires, you're not going to get them out. And you need to keep that in mind. Even though it's not really a huge deal towards the end, it kind of matters a little bit. So the strategy for the Crown is kind of simple. You just want to race your race. You want to build a car that handles the paved and dirt sections equally. Maybe you want a car that's built more towards dirt, less towards cement. That's completely your choice in how you want to build your car. In terms of tire wear, you just need to expect that the longer you go throughout the course and throughout the race, the more your tires are going to degrade, and the harder it is going to be to make those transitions and to make those turns the way that you want to. But everything is pretty consistent and pretty linear, so you don't have to worry about any sudden changes in the track or anything like that. You are expected to accrue some slight damage, and it's really hard to accrue this damage lap after lap after lap. Usually once you damage your car, maybe you damage it on the second lap. Usually you don't really see anything more, anything less. But if you are driving really hard and you try driving harder and harder each lap, this can compound. So just keep in mind, if you do a little bit of damage to your car, try not to overdrive it too much and it'll be okay. The 8th race of the NAFCAR season is City Escape, and this is a unique race on the schedule. This is a 10.5 mile paved road trail race. This track should take you about 7 minutes, 45 seconds to complete, and it's the fastest race on the schedule that's not Redbeard 95. City Escape has a tire wear level of 2, which is anywhere between 30 and 49% tire wear. For this course, you will end closer to that 30 mark than you will that 49 mark, so it's a low 2 or high tire wear level 1. Damage wear is rated a 1 out of 5, which means you should accrue no damage throughout the course of the event. For City Escape, we use S1 Retro Sports Cars. For this course, tire wear and damage, it does not matter. What does matter is the fact that this is a very slow course. So it's quick in terms of how long it takes to complete, but it's slow compared to a lot of other races. This course is a city race, and city races feature very narrow roads and usually stuff on both sides of them. So if you make a mistake, you're going to smash into the building that's next to you, and somebody behind you is probably going to plow into the back of you, causing a big wreck. This is a very technical course, and a technical course means that you need to be very wary of your surroundings. A lot of these turns only feature enough room for one driver. So if two drivers go and make a 90-degree turn, it's not going to work out for somebody. I've built up a lot of tire walls, especially in the beginning, to try and keep everybody in a single file line. The way you get around somebody is basically by putting the bumper to them. The best line through most of this track will be hugging the curve. You want to have that inside line when you make the turn. That's going to give you the best turning, it's going to give you the best center of turning, and it's going to give you the best off to prepare for the next turn. Most of the NAFCAR tracks we've run so far, you don't really have to worry 2 or 3 corners ahead. You can take a corner, you can adjust, you can turn the next corner. In this race, you don't have that time. When you are setting up a turn, you have to also think about the next 2 or 3 turns after that. You're going to be doing a lot of rapid turning, a lot of switching back and forth, and a lot of heavy braking and trying to outbrake your opponent going into a lot of these turns. This course probably has the most turns in all of NAFCAR, minus maybe 2 or 3 events. Something that compounds the pressure is the fact that it is such a short race. I would definitely build a car for this race that has some decent acceleration and not so much top speed. Once you get done with the introduction of the City Escape, you very rarely reach above 130 miles per hour. Most of this course, you're actually going to be sub 100 miles per hour. So it's incredibly important to have a car that handles those speeds perfectly. You want a car where you can point the nose wherever you want and know that it'll stick every turn. So what's the strategy for this race? You don't have to worry about tires. You don't have to worry about damage. What you do need to worry about is the fact that it is a city race and you do have objects on both sides, which is something different from all the other NAFCAR tracks seen so far. Your car needs to be able to handle the center of every turn, and you want to be able to hug the bottom of whatever turn you are trying to turn at, essentially. This course is going to feature a lot of one-lane roads, so it's going to be hard to pass people. If you want to get around a slow car, your best bet is to put the bumper to them and move them out of the way. Then, watch out for retaliation. Alrighty, so now we're going to look at the 9th race of the NAFCAR season, Field of Dreams. And this is a cross-country circuit race, and this is our first cross-country event of the season. It's also A-Class off-road vehicles. And it's our first A-Class of the NAFCAR season, and one of only 2 A-Class events. The Field of Dreams is a 2.5-mile cross-country circuit, and this whole track basically takes place on open field. So if you think of the terrain of open field in Forza, this whole track is raced on one. So the first race of the NAFCAR season was mixed. It had all 3 motifs: paved road, dirt road, cross-country road. Redbeard 95, the second race, was a road. Then we did a dirt race. Then we had 2 road races. We had a dirt race. We had a dirt road hybrid. Then the last one we had was a road race, the City Escape, and now we have a cross-country race. This course will also be a relatively fast race. We're going to do 6 laps around this course, and it should take you about 8 minutes 30 seconds to complete. Tire wear is rated a 3 out of 6, which means you should expect to use anywhere between 50 and 70% of your tires. Damage wear is rated a 2 out of 5, which means you should accrue some slight damage throughout the course of the event. And just like any other dirt race, you have a chance to bunny hop, you might come off the hill the wrong way, and you just accrue some slight damage naturally. So there are 2 ways you can race this track. The first way is you can take it slow and you can cut off as much of the turning and track as possible, taking the shortest way around the circuit. The problem is if you do this, you're going to be going a little slow. The other way you can race this track is you can basically take these turns as fast as you can, drift and slide, and sure, you're not going to be able to go where you want every time, but you're going to be able to maintain a constant high speed. And both are equally effective. I like to slide around the turns, where my friend who also plays with me, he likes to take it easy. And we both tie, we're both about tied in who's won the most on this track. Another side note, this course is our first night race of the season. As you can see, we have lights everywhere, and we have a couple of these scattered throughout the season for special tracks. The Field of Dreams is relatively easy compared to a lot of the tracks so far. And the reason why I keep it easy like this is because I'm not really a huge fan of cross-country races. I think cross-country races, there's too many variables. If you've ever done a cross-country Forza Horizon 5 race, you can take the same track 10 times, and 8 of the 10 times you'll be fine. But there's 2 times where you'll come off that cross-country track, like come off a jump the wrong turn and then spin out. So it's very inconsistent. When I built this track, I wanted it to be consistent every time. There's very few spots where it feels like RNG is involved. For the most part, like I said, this track comes in at a tire wear level 3. You really don't feel it. You're not really on road the entire time, or on road at all. So there's really no reference to, hey, I'm going to go around this turn and it's not going to turn the way I want. These checkpoints are super wide, and there's a lot of room to make these big wide turns you would see if you have higher tire wear. So I'm of the opinion, just burn your tires out. It really doesn't matter. So the strategy for this course is pretty simple. Just race your race. You don't really feel the tire wear. You don't really have to worry about damage, as there's no real RNG elements to this cross-country race. You can race it fast and slidey. You can take it slow and be methodical. However you build your car to race is how you built your car to race. And finally, the 10th race of the NAFCAR season, the Meteor. The Meteor is a 3.3 mile paved road circuit, and we'll be doing 5 laps around it. Now, one of the noticeable differences between this and all the other races so far is this circuit race has 5 laps and not 6. And the reason why it's like this is to give it a little bit of uniqueness and to finish the race before you have severe tire wear use. For this course, we will use S1 Super Saloons. Now, the Meteor race is a lot like the Twin Bridges in the fact that it's about S-turns and straightaways. The big difference is the Twin Bridges had a lot of short straightaways, where this course is going to have a one giant straightaway in which you're going to top out at over 200 miles per hour. The S-turns are also a little more severe in the fact that you actually need to turn and pitch the car. These S-turns are super tight, so in the Twin Bridges, when you came to an S-turn, your best bet was to split the difference and go straight through in a straight line through both of them. In this course, you're not going to be able to do that. As you reach the first S-turn, you're actually going to have to pitch the car in the direction you're going, and then once you get halfway through the S-turns, you're going to have to pitch it the other way. This also causes a lot more tire wear on your tires because you're actually going to be using the tires to turn rather than going in a straight line. When it comes to that aspect of the track, you're going to be going a little slower than you would be doing on the Twin Bridges. Because the Twin Bridges has a lot of short straightaways, you're not really having the opportunity to build a lot of speed. Now, imagine the same amount of straightaways on that course as this course, except it's all one giant straightaway, it's all one giant unbroken line. So you're going to be able to reach high speeds a lot higher than the Twin Bridges itself. So in a lot of ways it's similar, and in a lot of ways it's completely different. Tire wear for this track is rated a 3 out of 6, which means you should expect to use anywhere between 50 and 70% of your tires over the course of 5 laps. Damage wear is rated a 1 out of 5, which means you should accrue no natural damage throughout the course of the event. Now, you do have to pay attention though, because there are obstacles on either side of the road, and this is to make sure that you actually make those switching S-turns. So, even though tire wear is rated a 3 out of 5, you really feel it during the course of this event. Because you are constantly turning and you're constantly trying to build speed, there's a lot of opportunity to slide your tires, and the more damage you do to your tires, the harder it's going to drive at the end of the race. And this is kind of a very technical track. You are going to want to be able to make those S-turns, especially on that final lap, which is why we cut it off at 5. If we did 6 laps, those S-turns would feel almost impossible. So it's kind of a quicker race in that aspect, where you don't have to make 6 laps to complete the event, you only need 5. When you build your car, you need to keep this in mind. It's better to have a car that handles these S-turns than it is to go 230 miles per hour. For a majority of this race, you're going to be sub 130 miles per hour. And in theory, the more speed you put in the car, the less it's going to be able to turn. The better it turns, usually the less speed you're going to have in your car. So, what is the strategy to the Meteor? Well, the strategy is kind of simple. Once again, you want to race your race. You don't have to worry about 100% tires. The race is actually going to end before it gets really difficult. But you do want to manage, because you can definitely feel the difference between lap 1 and lap 5. The driver who handles this change the best will ultimately end up winning the race. This track gets really tough, especially towards the end. You're going to be sliding your tires a lot around these corners, and things are going to compound exponentially. Alrighty, and those are the strategies for the first 10 races. We're going to go over a quick overview, just discussing all 10 real fast, and then that'll be it. I know this video will probably be over an hour long. Alrighty, well, the first race of the NAFCAR season is the CHUPACABRAH 500, and it is a 38.8 mile trail race. It is really important that you manage your tires, as by the end of the race, you're going to be close or at 100%. It's also important to bring a well-balanced car, as you're going to be going around the perimeter of Forza Horizon 5, and you're going to experience all the different biomes and all the different types of roads those biomes include. The second race of the NAFCAR season is Red Beard 95, and this track is all about raw speed. You don't have to worry about tires, you don't have to worry about damage. This entire race takes place on the highway, and it's all about going as fast as you can. The Crop Circle is the third race of the NAFCAR season. This is also our first circuit race, and we're going to do 16 laps around it. This is a 1 mile track, and it is done completely on dirt. Some side notes for this course is you're going to be turning left the entire time, and you're going to be doing a lot of sliding and drifting. The strategy to this race is by racing your vehicle, keeping it right on the edge. The fourth race of the NAFCAR season is the Twin Bridges, and this is all about the S-turns and short straights. For this track, you're not going awfully fast, so it's important to have a car that handles really well. The Twin Bridges is a circuit event, which means we'll be doing 6 laps around it. The fifth race of the NAFCAR season is California 1, and this is an important tire management race. This is that race that you will finish with 99.9% of your tires used, which means it's going to be very difficult to control your car. If you start off this race going as hard as you can, you will not make it to the end. So it's important to work this race backwards. You need to start slow, make sure you get to a point where you'll know you'll make it to the finish, and then put the pedal to the metal. The sixth race of the NAFCAR season is Splash Trail, and it's a 17.4 mile trail race in which we use S1 modern rally cars. For this track, tire wear doesn't really matter, but what does matter is the damage wear. This is the first track of the season that actually matters when it comes to damage wear, as the first 80% of this course, you need to take care of your car, because at that 80% mark, there's going to be a giant jump, and it's going to destroy your car, and the damage will be exponential. So you want to take care of your car all the way to that point. When you make the jump, you'll land, and you'll have hopefully not that bad of damage compared to somebody who messed up the first 80%. The 7th race of the NAFCAR season is the Crown, and this is the one that we use with Sport Utility Heroes. For this course, tire wear does matter a little bit. The more tire wear you have, the more those transitions are not going to work the way you want them to. Also, the more tire wear you have, the harder it is to kind of stop the car, and the harder it's going to be to make these turns. This is also our first hybrid dirt road course of the season. It is a circuit event, and we'll be doing 6 laps around it. The 8th race of the NAFCAR season, City Escape, and this is our city race. This is full of those tight turns, it's very technical, and you really need to plan out not only the turn you're taking, but 2, 3, 4 turns in advance. It's incredibly tight, so the only way you're going to get around somebody is by putting the bumper to them. This is a 10.5 mile trail race, and it only lasts 7 minutes 45 seconds. So it's incredibly fast, and there's no room for mistake, even though there is a lot of opportunity for a mistake. For this course, it's a trail event, and we use S1 retro sports cars. The 9th race of the NAFCAR season, Field of Dreams. This is our first cross-country circuit, and we'll be doing 6 laps around it. For this course, we'll be using the A-Class off-road vehicles. It's the first A-Class of the season, one of only 2. We sustained some relatively high tire wear, but you really don't feel it because you're not on the road the entire time. You're basically going through open field. And the 2 strategies behind this race is go fast and slide, or take it easy and cut off as much of the track as possible. And finally, we have the race we just talked about. We have the Meteor. It's a 5-lap circuit event. It's all done on paved road, and it is full of slow S-turns and one very high speed straightaway. For this course, it's important that you take the turns the way you're supposed to. You want to hug the center, and you want to maintain as little tire temperature as possible, as towards the end, lap 5 of this event, it actually gets kind of hard to make those S-turns. So it's important to take care of your tires. It's not really a tire management race, but it's as close to being one as you can possibly get without it being considered a tire management race. Alrighty, well, I hope that I'm able to shed some insight on what it's like to race in the NAFCAR season. I know watching all these videos individually, it's kind of hard to piece them all together and actually see what the schedule looks like, which is why I wanted to do this, to kind of compare and contrast each race all the way down. And keep in mind, this is only the first 10 races. I still have 30 more races to post, and it's going to get a lot tougher in terms of the strategy you need to use and what you actually need to do on track to succeed. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for your support. If you've made it this long into the video, I'm sure we're over an hour by now. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And we're going to have brand new tracks, never before seen, coming to this channel over the next few days. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great evening, night, morning, day.